Filipino tennis ace Alex Eala had another special moment at the Rafa Nadal Academy, this time with the legend himself.
Times Square at dusk, yellow cabs bleeding through the intersection, tourists frozen mid-step, and a digital screen the size of a building lighting up with the face of a 21-year-old from Manila. Below street level, MTA buses roll past Queens and Jersey City with the same face wrapped across their sides. And inside every Filipino household within 100 miles, phones are lighting up with the same three words: she's on a billboard. Alex Eala had landed in New York 5 days before the U.S. Open, and Nike had already turned the city into her storefront. And somewhere in Mallorca, according to circulating reports, the man who trained her since she was 13, the man who himself walked away from a $150 million Nike contract just months earlier, was said to be watching in stunned silence as his own academy graduate became the exact face Nike had been searching for since he retired. 72 hours earlier, none of this seemed guaranteed. Eala entered the 2025 U.S. Open ranked 75th in the world, well outside the top 50, carrying a June final in Eastbourne on her back and an early Wimbledon exit still fresh in the record book. The Nike push around her felt oversized to the skeptics, premature to the analysts, and confusing to anyone still checking the rankings before checking the culture. Then on August 20th, from her hotel in Manhattan, she opened Instagram and posted three words: New York, New York, tagged Nike. No hype caption, no essay, no manufactured moment. Just a 21-year-old landing in the biggest city on earth with a Nike tag and 51,000 likes rolling in before the courts had even opened. But behind that restraint was a very loud question the tennis establishment was already asking out loud. Why was Nike rolling out a signature-level Nike Court Slam royal blue dress and Vapor Pro 3 premium shoes for a player ranked 75th in the world? Why were her placements going up on Times Square area digital displays and New York City buses? Placements one Filipino community page openly noted were not part of any Nike press-released billboard blitz. While top 20 players were still waiting on their own campaigns, fans on Sportskeeda and Yahoo Sports were even calling her $42 Nike tee low-effort merch, and yet the shirt sold out anyway. The pattern was impossible to miss. Nike was amplifying her visibility faster than it was amplifying her merchandise. This was not a product play. This was a bet. To understand the size of that bet, you have to understand who Nike had just lost. On November 19, 2024, Nike published a formal farewell to Rafael Nadal, closing out a 20-year relationship that anchored the brand's tennis identity across two generations. 22 Grand Slams, 4 U.S. Open titles, a logo stitched into the sport itself gone, and Nadal did not walk away empty-handed. He walked away from money. According to reports widely circulated across Vienna Express and business analysis outlets, Nadal turned down a $150 million Nike renewal in his final year to build his own footwear partnership. That is a 9-figure hole in Nike's tennis marketing budget. Money like that does not disappear. Money like that goes looking for a face, and the face it found had been training inside Nadal's own house since 2018. Eala arrived at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Manacor, Mallorca at 13 years old. She is publicly recognized on the Academy's own channels as its first graduate to win a professional title. The pipeline Nadal built to outlive his career, the school he founded so tennis would keep breathing after he stopped, had just produced the athlete replacing him on Nike's marketing wall. If you have been telling people for years that this kid was different, that the Miami semifinal run was not a fluke, that the Eastbourne final was a signal and not an accident, the world is now reading from your script 3 years late. Then came August 24th, first round of the U.S. Open Court 17. Clara Towson and the 14th seed, a top 15 player, the kind of opponent a World 75 is supposed to bow to politely and go home. Eala took the first set 6-3, lost the second 2-6, then in a third set tiebreak that stretched to 13-11, saving match points, absorbing pressure, staring down every reason she had no business being on that scoreboard, she closed it 7-6 first. Filipino in the Open era, first in more than 60 years to win a Grand Slam main draw singles match. Monday, a billboard nobody could explain. Wednesday, a top 15 seed dismantled in 3 sets. Somewhere in that gap, the argument ended. Nike had not manufactured a moment. Nike had bet on a moment 96 hours before it arrived, and the moment showed up on time. Which brings us back to the man in Mallorca. 22 Grand Slam titles, 4 U.S. Open crowns, a career that defined what it meant to wear the Nike swoosh in tennis for 2 decades, the founder of the academy where Alex Eala grew up on red clay. Rafael Nadal has not, at the time of writing, publicly reacted to the New York campaign. No press conference, no direct statement about the buses or the Times Square screens. But months before any of this, before the ad money and the digital displays, Nadal had already said everything the sport needed to hear about her. After her WTA 125 breakthrough, and again after her Mubadala DC Open title, he told the world her progress made him happy and proud. Paraphrased across outlets, verified in sentiment. He posted about a practice session with her. She replied on his Instagram, when a 22-time Grand Slam champion adopts your progress as his own, publicly, repeatedly, before Nike ever bought a billboard, the endorsement was already on record. The billboards were just the world catching up. The commercial map of tennis is being redrawn in real time, and the coordinates keep pointing east. Federer to Uniqlo in 2018 for a reported $300 million. Nadal walking from Nike in 2024. Nike betting on Eala in 2025. 3 moves in 7 years, and every single one of them shifts who gets to be the face of this sport. Naomi Osaka opened the door for Asian Pacific representation at the very top of tennis marketing. Alex Eala is walking through it carrying the flag of a country of more than 110 million people that has never had a global tennis star, until now. The Asian hardcourt swing is next. China Open, Wuhan, the end-of-year lead-in to the WTA Finals conversation. And in the ranking cycles that followed this stretch, per WTA Rankings Watch, she pushed into the top 20 for the first time in her career. Every tournament she plays from here is now a Nike storefront. Every match is a commercial that Nike does not have to buy. Then came August 27th, second round. Cristina Butza of Spain, World 95, took her out in straight sets 4-6, 3-6. 3 days after the coronation, the correction arrived. The billboards did not come down. The tournament was over for her, but her face was still rolling past commuters on the sides of city buses, still glowing above Times Square. Per Olympics.com's framing, she left New York defeated but not dejected. She did not vanish. She did not spiral. Within weeks, she was climbing again, into the top 20 for the first time in her life. The billboard outlasted the run. That was always the point. 3 words on an Instagram post. A $150 million hole in Nike's tennis budget. A 13-11 tiebreak that rewrote 60 years of Filipino tennis history. A 22-time champion in Mallorca who called her progress happy and proud before the world knew her name. Nike did not put Alex Eala on New York out-of-home advertising because she is already the queen of this sport. Nike put her there because they believe she will be. And in the 96 hours it took her to justify the campaign, she answered the question for them. Now the real question is for you. Is Nike moving too fast, or is Alex Eala already outgrowing every billboard they can build for her? Drop where you are watching from in the comments. How many of you have been on Team Eala since Miami, and how many of you just got recruited this week? If you have been in this corner from the beginning, from the junior slams, from the academy footage, from the nights nobody outside the Philippines was watching, this channel is where the rest of the world finally shows up to the conversation you have been having for years. Subscribe and stand with the fans who saw her first. The billboards will keep going up, the rankings will keep climbing, and every step of it belongs to us.